Okay, there's some people around me that are talking kind of slow about business stuff here in the East Commons at San Diego State University, charging up the laptop. We've got a lot to do today. It is Monday, and there's so much we can do to move forward. But I just thought I'd reference it because when people talk slowly, you tend to kind of, your speed of thought and speech blends in with it, for better or worse. And so you develop this ability as you think about it, disability, ability, this ability. We move it, HBJ, DEI, JEDI, DEI, HBJ, wheelchair program. So we move it from the bad to the good, but like kind of like a systems of transmissions in your head, and it goes to athletic ability. That if someone is not athletic early in their lives, what happens is they develop this kind of constant resting pace that they're always moving at. But you got to be faster than everybody else. You got to be stronger than everybody else, and that goes to breathing deeper. That goes to the oxygenated brain. That goes to what you get from cardio and moving quickly. And that's what we're talking about, raising money for marathon training. Because, like I said, field of view, you're inside of a shopping mall. People that are just moving slowly, talking slowly, thinking at a very resting pace. And that's what psychiatric drugs do to you. So they can hook you up with a special girl for you. That's good for eugenics because society said that's the one you get. So if you decide, okay, that person gets this diagnosis, and that's what DSM is, we slow everybody down, boom, flatten them out. Now you get this special girl, and then all the women that are fast that you were. A lot of times you see someone in a mental institution. I've seen it. They're having these outbursts. They're having schizophrenic, psychotic episodes. Yeah, they're understimulated. They want to be able to practice to move on someone more attractive, someone with better curves, someone that's taller, someone that's athletic. And that's what they're trying to do. And you have to let them. You have to let them punch to the wall. You have to let them punch the wall. That's one of the things I'm not getting right now. Is you're in these settings where you've got. If I were to try to punch the wall here, it's drywall, gypsum drywall. I'd cause property damage. I got to get myself to some concrete and get these knuckles bruised up because it heats up everything. You can tolerate a lot more. So this goes to pain tolerance. But what I wanted to talk, so that's a huge digression. I should probably just split the video up, but we're just gonna get this done. And this goes to what we want to talk about, which is I actually disagree with, and we're seeing that psychologists, by and large, now are teaching people that they should, use Motherese, as you say, with your children. I disagree with that completely. They should not use Motherese. I was ready to be talked to like an adult when I was a kid, and it was a horrible thing that people were using Motherese. And I think, in my case, it's just that because I had a retarded parent. It's because I had a retarded parent because my mother was retarded, and it says a lot of things. But because she was retarded, it ended up creating a situation where she couldn't graduate from the Motherese when I was ready. But to make it very simple, to make it ultra simple, because my mother was too retarded, it created a situation where, speaking of the autistic outburst, why is this person diagnosed with this, autism or whatever? Because he's having outbursts, he's constantly lashing out in school when he gets to school. Here's the thing with it, is the parent is too slow to influence you. So you've got a parent that's too slow to influence you. How do you say, stop influencing me? And let me give you an example. Even if, so yes, lower IQ, maybe, what happens is you run Genius slower. But innately that, Genius run slowly isn't going to help you avoid the tiger. You're still going to get killed by it. Now we're dealing with paper tiger, so it's, now someone just takes all your money, ends up owning the investment property, gets the trophy wife, elected president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and you're a complete nobody. So that's so at least you're not dead. So then because you're not dead becomes a justification for Donald Trump to have all of my money. No, we're not going to be okay with that. So, well, you're alive, so we don't have real tigers, we have paper tigers. Maybe they should have killed me, it should be that way, but I'm not going to let that be a reason that I don't have that money, because that is my money. When he says on Saturday Night Live something like, you'll never have my money, well, I mean, if that doesn't stir something in you where you just want to rip the windpipe out, something's very wrong with you. But you have to be someone that thinks that way to work with me, because that's my money. That is my money. That's my airplane. That's my trophy wife, and we're gonna get it. And if you're not okay with that, you can't help me. So, um, back to the main point, which is you just know innately this is too slow a parent to influence me. So even if the parent is someone that thinks correctly, is teaching the right things, age appropriately or ahead, you want to be influenced by someone that's faster. And so you start having these outbursts because indeed, slow people, like I said, are social diseases. And I understand the plight I create because, okay, my mother's too retarded, she hooks up with someone who's too retarded, and I come out too retarded. But I'm a little bit of a weird case where I just was not too retarded enough for her. So I know the problem I create. But it is a social disease. And so you leave home to go to school. You leave home, and this goes on for 10 years or whatever. And that heebie-jeebie energy, that slow energy, it hypnotizes you in a way. So it sticks with you like a curse, and you're starting to have these outbursts. I want to be influenced by faster people. And sure enough, another issue is too slow in elementary school. Should have been in private elementary, should have been learning a curriculum that was much higher. But it ends up disabling the person in ways that I think it do actually, because of the concept of, you can look at it this way, epigenetics, that the good genes you have, they don't get activated, and so some people during puberty, for instance, they're going to develop in a good way, and you, because your parents were too slow and you couldn't break free of them, are going to develop in a different direction. It's not going to turn out good, and you're not going to develop the muscle, you're not going to develop the speed, you're not going to, it's just everything's all screwed up, and you're doing this in middle school and high school, and that's why you're jacking up in the bathroom instead of, you should have had your girlfriend or whatever, and that's all it comes down to. That's one of the explanations for it. So yes, I have to look at it this way, which is maybe I'm too retarded, but at the same time I'm also the victim of it. And that's why I disagree with the use of Motherese. Talk to your children like adults, and this is the perfect example. So, on the Skyline Rail in Honolulu, passing by right before the airport, between Hickam Air Force Base Station and Honolulu International Airport, the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, and here in San Diego, the San Diego example would be the Green Line trolley, because there is a nice view between two buildings of what used to be Lindbergh Field, our single runway airport here in San Diego. It used to be a very convenient airport. They started doing all this stuff to it, and it really changed it a lot. But it's still better than LA for a lot of it. That's what it was. When you go to San Diego International Airport, it's so convenient. You walk right in there, and you can, and literally security is footsteps away. You walk right through and get on your plane. But I guess because of population demands or whatever, they've had to screw the place up. But okay, it's all right. It used to be a little more like Ontario, Ontario International Airport in San Bernardino. So that was a beautiful thing about San Diego International Airport. But you can see the planes landing and taking off from that single runway airport on the Green Line trolley. And so imagine a parent pointing, talking to a kid and pointing at an airplane saying, "Can you say kangaroo?" Kangaroo, and then grabbing the kid's hands and kangaroo, can you say kangaroo? And this kid is just trying to rip the mom's windpipe out or gouge her in the eyes, because I know it's goddamn kangaroo. It's Qantas Airlines, that's from Australia. Of course, we don't have that at San Diego, but, or Southwest Airlines, whatever, some example like that. So this would be a Honolulu example. Kangaroo, but the kid, the kid wants to have a conversation with some fast-moving dad that's like, that's kangaroo there, right? Kangaroo, Qantas Airlines. That's the speed he wants it to move at, and he already knows kangaroo pouch, symbol of the mother, Australia. I don't know if that's a national animal, but I would have known if someone wasn't saying kangaroo, kangaroo. Tell Trusty if you have an idea. There's no Trusty. We don't have a butler.